Okay, so for our ramping here, we're gonna get started. We have 2 supersets we're gonna work on. The first one's gonna be our hangs and then our box step down. So we got Coach T here. She's gonna start with that hang. We're going 30 seconds. Think about your breathing here. Deep breath in, get as much air in as you possibly can. Then you're gonna hold it for a couple seconds and then slowly push that air out. You start to feel your spine decompress. As you force that last bit of air, you're gonna feel those abs wall up here and then take another deep breath. Your goal is to try to do this in 2 to 4 deep breaths here. If you focus on your breathing, it is gonna help that time pass quicker. If you need to, you touch those tippy toes to the floor, use a box to support yourself as much as you need to get through that 30 seconds. The second exercise, we're coming over to our boxes. We're gonna work some box step downs here. So we're gonna get set up with one foot on the edge of the box, the other leg is off the box. And what T's gonna do is she's gonna start by letting that knee go out over toes, pushing her hip back toward the wall and thinking about touching that heel to the floor. She's trying to go straight down here. This is gonna get some muscles around the knees activated and get those glutes working here as well. So take your time. Nice and controlled on the way down. Now, if you're working this and you feel like you can go a little bit deeper, we have taller boxes that you can work on as well. So you can step over, you can adjust that and get to a bigger box here. Remember, the goal is not necessarily to get down to the floor. The goal is to move well as you're practicing this. So if you can get a little bit lower, feel free to challenge yourself on that box here. But if you're losing your balance, go down to a shorter box. And if you need to, at any point, you can always touch that other foot to the box. Take a deep breath if you need to, and get back to it when you can. When we come back to this one, we'll go over to the other leg, so we'll get a set in on each side. Okay, for a second ramping superset, we're gonna be working with our sandbags here. So Coach Carey's gonna start by demonstrating the quadruped pull through here. So she's gonna start with hands and knees on the floor. She's gonna bring those knees just up off the floor here, wall up those abs, pushing the ground away from her. Now she's gonna reach across her body to pull that sandbag through, replanting that hand, and now she's gonna reach with that other side. As you're doing this, focus on keeping those knees pushed apart, keep those legs engaged here. Before you go to lift that arm and pull across, make sure you're nice and rigid. We don't want any movement through those hips if we can avoid it. She's working really hard, a lot of work for those quads. If you need to, you can also go to a plank position for this. It's gonna be a little bit lighter, a little bit easier on that lower body to hold this plank position, so that's up to you. You can also just focus on that quadruped position or that plank position during that 30 seconds if you need to. The second exercise, we're gonna go over to our backs. We're gonna keep the sandbags here, and we're gonna work our glute bridges with our bag pull apart. So Coach Carey's got those feet planted under her knees. She's gonna hold that bag apart. She's trying to tear that bag in half. That's getting those lats engaged. She's squeezing those glutes nice and tight. Take a deep breath in as you lower those hips back down to the floor. Push the ground away from you, drive those hips up, squeeze those glutes nice and tight. Keep tearing that bag apart as you're working here. Obviously, if you need to, you can do this without the bag set to the side. You can rest on your chest if you need to for a second. Be careful there. There you go. And you can just focus on those glute bridges if you want. Now, to make this a little more challenging here, let's bring that bag back in, and you can add that glute bridge march to this one. So again, tearing that bag apart. Now Carey's gonna bring one knee up to her chest like she's marching, toes pulled toward her knee. She has to make sure she's doing this, that the other glute is squeezed nice and tight. So before you even lift that foot up, make sure that other glute squeezed tight. So she's about to lift that right leg, which means that left glute squeezed tight. Now she's squeezing that right glute as tight as she can, keeping those hips from moving as she pulls it in here, okay? So that's another progression there if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more on this one. When we're done with our ramping, we're going to move on to some core work and some agility work here. So we're going to start with some landmine bus drivers, and then we're going to move over to the agility ladders here as well. So Coach T is going to get set up for those bus drivers. She's got those hands on the bar, reaching high overhead, leaning into it here. Now she's going to lower this bar down toward her hips, squeezing that back glute. Notice that she's pivoting on that back foot. That other foot stays nice and straight. Abs are walled up. She's going to use those hips now to pull that bar back up. Then she's going to go over to the other side here, pivoting on that back foot. Squeeze that back glute, drive on up. You want to make sure that as you pivot to that other leg, keep a soft bend in that knee so we're not hyperextending that knee. You also want to make sure your hands are coming down toward your hip. You don't want to be too far forward here. You don't want to be too far back where that bar's going to cause you to lean into it or crunch here. Nice tall posture, pull that bar up. Deep breath in as you pivot and lower that bar down. Push that air out as you yank that bar up here. So after we get done with our reps, we're gonna take that bar down and we're gonna start. If you haven't done this with us before, you wanna start with just the bar. You can add weight as you're getting comfortable and feeling stronger with this one as well. Once we get done with that one, we're coming immediately over to our agility ladder here, and we're gonna work down and back on this one. So you can mix it up here. Coach Carey's gonna start. She's got our our Icky shuffles here going side to side. You can go in, out here, so both of you coming in and out. You can do those Ali shuffles, more moving sideways and kicking those feet back, in and out from the same position. You can work those jumping jacks here. So there's quite a few different possibilities, but we're gonna go down and back one time as quickly as you can with those feet. We're gonna do 2 sets of this, so give yourself about 60 to 90 seconds to recover, and then we're gonna move on. For our strength training sets, we're gonna have 3 exercises we're gonna be working. We're gonna be working for 5 reps, so we want heavy weight here. We want a weight that 5th rep is really challenging, where you could possibly do 1 more good rep, or we're gonna keep one round in the chamber in this one. So I want you to go to that place where you feel like, thank goodness this is the last rep I have to do. So challenge yourself with the weight on these 3 exercises here. The first one we're gonna start with is our landmine split stance press. So Carrie's getting set up so that bar's over shoulder. Let's show them from the other side here, just so obviously you can see from that side. So Carrie's getting set up in that split stance. She's gonna keep that back glute squeeze nice and tight, and she's pressing that bar up to the ceiling here at the very top. You'll notice how there's a slight rotation as she tries to reach as far as she can. Your deep breath in as you pull that bar down, push that air out as you press it up here. Keeping that weight on that front leg, pushing yourself forward through that back foot. We're gonna go 5 on one side, bring that bar down to your chest, switch legs here, and we're gonna do 5 on the other. So you'll be pressing with the same arm as the leg that stepped back here. So it's gonna be 5 on one side, 5 on the other. Nice job there, Carrie. From there, we're coming over to our deadlifts. We got Coach T over here. And you can use a kettlebell for these deadlifts as well, but we're gonna be demonstrating with the trap bar. Get that chest up, grabbing right there in the middle of the knurling, shoulders down and away from those ears. Get a little grunt going here, drive up, squeeze those glutes. To go back down there, think about pushing your butt back toward the wall. So we're not squatting here, we're trying to hip hinge. Push that butt back, and then think about pushing the ground away from you to drive up. Deep breath in on the way down. Get that grunt. Drive up, squeeze those shoulder blades, pull those shoulders down, squeeze those glutes nice and tight, abs are walled up, deep breaths here. Again, 5 heavy reps here. You can start a little bit lighter on the deadlifts, make sure these are feeling comfortable on your lower back and your hips. Take that weight up with each set if you can here. Nice job, T. And then from there, we're coming over to our chin-ups with Coach Lynn. So she's using that band for assistance if you need it. You can top hang your bands, or you can work those cross hang bands as well. Shoulders down and away as you pull that bar down to you, trying to pull your chest up toward the bar. Now Lynn right now is working that chin-up grip or that supinated grip. You can also work that prone grip here. It's gonna be a little more challenging. You don't get to use those biceps as much, but it's easier on those elbows. Pull that bar down, roll up those abs, pushing that air out, nice and controlled on the way down here. Again, you can always add a band or take a band off. Start with it a little bit lighter on that first set. Take a band off if you feel like you can for that second and third set here. Okay, to finish up this workout, we're gonna have 3 exercises for our conditioning circuit here. So Coach Carey's gonna start on the Echo bike. We're gonna go for 5 calories on that bike. We're gonna think about using those arms and legs, pushing and pulling as fast as you can here. And then anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds here when you're done. You wanna track that time that it took you to do those 5 calories. Nice job, Coach. From there, we're coming over to our push-ups. So Coach Lynn's over here. Wall up those abs, squeeze and press. Deep breath in on the way down. Push that air out as you're driving up. Kneecaps are pulled up, glutes are squeezed tight. We're gonna go for 5 to 10. So if you can do 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, don't stop at 5. If you need to, you can go over to the squat racks, get one of your bars set up so we can work that elevated push-up here as well. 5 to 10 good push-ups. Nice job, Coach. From there, we're coming over our last exercise, which is going to be our kettlebell swing. So we got Coach T over here demonstrating. Give yourself about a foot's distance from that kettlebell, chest up, drive through those heels. Think about hiking that kettlebell up towards your butt, drive those heels in the floor, throwing that kettlebell across the room. playing chicken with the kettlebell on the way down. Now right now T is demonstrating our dead stop swings. If you're working the dead stop swings, you'll do 5. If you want to work the repetition swings, you're going to do 10. Here, think about playing chicken with that bell, hips sit back, and then use that drive back up to throw that kettlebell across the room. Glutes are squeezed, kneecaps pulled up, or those hips here. So it's 5 or 10 swings after the actual bike and those push-ups. That is our conditioning circuit to finish off this workout. Great job, everybody.